Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to an Ektar solo cast and not an Ace and Ektar Heroes of the Storm casting podcast. Hopefully he'll be joining us a little bit later. He's currently eating dinner, but we've got ourselves a real banger tonight as we have Die for Vision taking on Durotan's Couch in the Divisional C East quarterfinals, and we've already got ourselves going on into the draft, getting into game number one. And if you're wondering how did we get to Infernal Shrines for game number one, that's a good question because I wasn't in that lobby. But Captain Wedge informed me that Die for Vision, having the higher seed, opted for first hero pick. The map bans by Durotan's Couch were Sky Temple and Brax's Holdout, with Die for Vision banning out Battlefield of Eternity and Volskaya, which honestly pretty smart bans considering they've had some pretty good success on Volskaya this season. The Couch has, that is. As we've got the immediate target bans coming out for Die for Vision, as Greymane is the most played hero on the Couch, and Johanna's pretty up there as well. Also just like the most banned hero in the game at this point, after Ariel, who is going to get banned out from the side of Durotan's Couch. Sylvanas is another really high pick rate coming out from Die for Vision, so not terribly surprised to see her going away as well. We do have Kel'Thas with a bit of a banned Cyberhawk skin, but you know, I won't tell disciplinary committee if you won't. And on the other side, we do have Leoric and Anduin getting picked up for the Couch. Very common pickups. Leo played like 8 times, and Anduin being played 10 times already this season for Durotan's Couch, which means they've had those two heroes in about half of their games, which is pretty dang high. Both of these teams has kind of a collection of heroes that they really like, but that's it's a much smaller group for Die for Vision, having played only a total of 26 heroes this entire season, whereas the Couch have fielded 46 total heroes. So much wider hero pool, but maybe a little bit of deeper experience coming out for the side of Die for Vision as they pick up the Diablo and Stukov. Again, 10 times Diablo, 8 times Stukov, really just sitting in their comfort picks at this point. Both teams looking to go into game number one as comfortably as they can possibly manage. We've got the Lost Vikings getting banned out, which seems like a really weird ban, but the last time we casted Durotan's Couch, they actually pulled out the Lost Vikings on this map. It was by Captain Wedge, so I don't know that they would have gone into that. It would be a pretty big brain play for Wedge to pick up Leo and then have someone else pick up Vikings and swap into it, but also they won with that, by the way. They won with the Lost Vikings on Infernal Shrines, which is just the wildest thing I've seen in a very long time. We've got the Nazeebo and the Mal'Ganis getting picked up. Mal'Ganis is interesting because that's not a hero that they play particularly often, but Nazeebo actually is, and Nazeebo is played in the first series between these two teams in both games, and actually ended up winning. We have Die for Vision, I believe, is the number 2 seed, and Durotan's Couch are the 7 seed. That might be off by 1. Die for Vision might be 3, and Durotan's Couch might be 6, but it's definitely Die for Vision as the much higher seed. However, in the regular season, it was actually Durotan's Couch that took the 2-0 victory, so looking to repeat that success that they found against this particular team, if not in the whole season. And we've got the Tychus and Blaze getting picked up. I really like Blaze on this map because he's a nice anchor tank, and it looks like they really want to be the team that is being engaged into, and Lunara is actually a really fantastic hero on this map. She does great on the Shrine Clear, and also she can either engage pretty hard if you go into that Leaping Strike, but you can also just stay back and poke for a really long time. So both teams having a mix of ability to just stand back and lob damage at the enemy team, but also engage pretty hard with Mal'Ganis' Night Rush and QQQ engage, as well as the Leo engage with the Entomb. So both teams kind of drafting reasonably similar comps, although gotta say, in most cases, I would rather have a Kel'Thas than a Nazeebo, unless they've got a really good Nazeebo. That is true, the only Black Cat. They won on this map not only with the Lost Vikings, but also a Gul'dan bot. So, spicy capabilities coming out from the side of Durotan's Couch. Not having a co-caster means there's going to be a couple more awkward pauses as I drink my cold beverage. Alrighty, and we have now spawning in on the right-hand side in the red trunks. They are the Durotan's Couch with a fish playing the Nazebo, Wildcard playing the Lunara, Soln playing the Manduin, Captain Wedge on the Leoric, and Big Eggroll playing Melganis. On the left-hand side in the blue trunks, they are Die for Vision, your number 2 seed, with Sulfide playing the Tychus, Shamhat playing the Stukov, Atlas on Blaze, Earl Schlepp on the Diablo, and Darker Black playing the Kel'Thas. I wonder if Darker Black there is being used as a reference to Archer with his black and slightly darker black. What is this item? I mean, is that an early sign that Die for Vision are going to win? To lose as they're already got the core loots dropping there? I don't know. If anyone else has seen that bug, I'd love to hear more about it, because that was kind of interesting. Going back into level 1 talents, we've got Nazebo going into Things of the Deep, which I think is really an interesting pickup coming here, considering what the enemy team has. It has mostly been the standard talent level 1 for Nazebo these days, if you can call anything that Nazebo does truly standard, because he's such an unpopular hero. But Nazebo's recently, for the most part, have actually been going into the Toad Rush, not the Toad Rush, the Zombie Rush on 7, so not going into either Toads or Spiders, which were the standard builds for a long time, but instead going Zombies. So, look to see Afish going into that later into the game, and also just the extra spell power you can get off that level 1 talent. Pretty big. Check out the rest of the talents we got. Devil's Due, which I really like on a map like this with a lot of rotations. Got a nice combo coming out onto Diablo. Is mostly going to be able to walk away. Sulfide started putting some big damage into that big egg roll. Wildcard stepping in to do some damage. We do have a little bit of a rotational advantage coming out for the side of Durotan's Couches. They're getting to this bottom lane just a little bit faster than their opponents, but probably not going to make too big of a deal. Spine Launcher is a bit of an interesting pickup coming from this Stukov. I don't see that chosen very often. But Nazebo's doing pretty well. 24 stacks out of 4 waves is definitely pretty decent. Got a bit of rotation coming up into the top lane, trying to catch Captain Wedge out of position. Gonna pick some damage into him, just pop trait a little bit, try to do some damage. Gets him down to about half. Maybe forces the tap. All in all, pretty decent gank, but it does give the opportunity now for Durotan's Couch to take this camp reasonably uncontested, as they still have 2 in the top lane. Level 4 is being picked up just a little bit earlier for Die for Vision, as we do have the One Good Spread, my personal favorite talent on 4 for Stukov. We do have the In the Rhythm, so going to be trying to get those minigun stacks to give even more duration to that ability, which, considering as beefy as the front line is for Durotan's Couch with both Leo and Melganis, is not a terribly surprising pickup. And we do have actually the Felon Fusion coming out for Darker Black, which is, I think, an interesting talent decision. Normally you'd see that being picked up if they go Convection on level 1, because they don't have any way to increase the size of their mana pool with the mana act like you often have, and also you're using more Flame Strikes than you're using Living Bombs when you go into Convection, so you tend to have some mana problems. So I don't see Mana Tap being picked up very often. I'd love to hear anyone else's input on why they'd go into that. So we have Die for Vision opting to take this bottom camp, which is going to give them advantage if the fight in the top lane goes long, but this does give position to Durotan's Couch, so they'll be able to have the nice defensive positioning going into this objective. It's going to hide the talents for a little bit, as we're not going to need them for just a little bit. We've got a team fight that is certainly going to be starting up pretty soon. I like this positioning from Wildcard. Reasonably safe, and just able to poke out some damage into the backline, making Darker Black take a lot of damage, putting some damage out into Blaze as well. Popping the Pyromaniac. Blaze is in a bit of a rough spot, taking quite a bit of damage, but not as much as Big Eggroll, who should still have tap available. A little bit of engage coming out onto Wildcard. Ooh, but the follow-up for Earl Schlepp is going to secure that first kill out onto Lunara. Diablo dies in response, however. Captain Wedge gets brought down very low. Doesn't have tap available, I believe, because he had used it earlier. This is, I believe, going to have to go all the way back to that, unless it's, okay, coming up just now. Not too bad. Very little waiting. Reasonably even. We do have the level 7s coming in from the side of Die for Vision. So Captain Wedge in a bit of a forward spot could get engaged upon pretty hard. Solon just using that chastise to keep Sulfide a little bit away from chunking that damage out into Wedge. He hit pretty low, down already below half hit points. Big Eggroll diving into the back. Atlas diving into the back as well. Eggroll taking quite a bit of damage. Not able to follow up on it, as we do have the 5ths coming back in for both sides, but the advantage is definitely in Die for Vision's favor, as Captain Wedge is going to be not dying immediately, but they still don't have that level 7 advantage. And in the bottom lane, we can see that the camp's been doing work. Darker Black gets brought down very low, does get saved by Shamhat just barely, is likely going to need to tap before they can really fully engage back into this fight. It's very close, 26 to 29. As we do have the level 7s just now coming in from the side of Durotan's couch. The nice chastise out onto Earlschlep, but not able to do any follow-up damage. Wildcard taking a lot of damage from that Flame Strike. Soulfight getting very low as well. Only 4 minions remaining, and the first objective is going to go over in favor of Dive Vision, but it's very close. So we do have the continued Living Bomb build coming out from Kael'thas. Afish taking the jump, no follow-up from Dive Vision, so not too bad that he ended up being the one taking that damage. We do have both solo laners rotating out so they can continue to get that XP advantage. Checking the bottom lane for just a second, they actually took out most of that front wall, so really good on Dive Vision, making great value out of that camp that they took. Likely won't be able to get the fort here, but they did take the entirety of the front wall and the well, which is actually really big. It means that anytime that Wedge does get a little bit of a gank, is not going to have that well to tap back into, and they actually do manage to get that top fort, so really well done for Dive Vision. Finding themselves a very good place going into this game number 1 so far, as Wedge is already below half health. Tapped during the objective. It should be up by now, but still, just getting forced to tap more often than their opponents. We do have the camp invade coming for Dive Vision. Wildcard is pretty low, going to be about a quarter hit points. Does get a little bit of healing from Soln. Wedge face checking and actually still gets taken out even after using the Spooky Walk, and that is going to be the second kill now going over in favor of Dive Vision. Only one for Durotan's couch, as the Nazebo does get Lapse and Flamestruck, and that is going to be the successful camp steal coming up from the side of Dive Vision. Currently we have nobody in the top lane from either team. Wedge will spawn in there in just a moment, so they're going to get a little bit of that XP differential back in their favor until Blaze can find himself in there. Wildcard might get engaged upon, but we have mostly Dive Vision focusing out into the mid lane. A lot of damage coming out into Big Eggroll as we have the level 10s now coming in, trying to do something with that immediately. Puts Big Eggroll down to pretty low hit points, but aren't able to find a kill. The zombie wall is actually going to find the counter kill onto Tychus. Really well done for them. Big Eggroll trying to make it engage. Wedge is coming in from the top to see what they can do. They still don't have the level 10s. Wedge is deep into the backline doing damage onto Stukov and Atlas both. Wildcard gets brought down very low, and it's looking like it's only going to be the 1 kill, but that's a really important kill for them to get down level 10s. Checking the level 10s that we have now coming in from both hands, so we do have the Flailing Swept Combustion, which we saw, the Odin, which we saw, I believe. Apoc and Phoenix as well for the side of Dive Vision, and on the other side we have the Entomb, which everybody expects, completely honestly. Gargantuan, which is not terribly surprising, although I've got a bit of a soft spot for. Oh, that's a dead fish. Yep, a little bit too far forward. Identified it just a little bit too late as that camp got taken out immediately. Ult being held for Lunara right now. I would like to see Leaping Strikes. I don't think Thornvine gives quite as much value, but we do actually have that coming out. We do have the Carrion Swarm and not the Dark Conversion for Melganis, which I think is a smart call. I have seen that ult get very little actual value in recent times, so I'd like to see that. Wildcard in a bit of a spot. Not able to leap themselves out of there because they did go into the Thornvine, which means you got to position even safer on Lunara than you normally would have to. And finally, we do have the Light Bomb getting picked up from Anduin. Nazebo's doing okay in stacks, but not as okay as I think he'd like to be doing at this point in the game. They're level 11 with less than half the number of the stacks that they want to be at level 20, so gonna need to pick up the pace to try and get that Vile Infection done by 20, because let's be honest, for the most part that's their win condition. When they played Nazebo on this map against Dive Vision earlier in the season, they actually won before level 20, so it didn't end up mattering. But in the second game where they again played Nazebo, he did get stacks finished, I believe, and was, ooh, definitely a big combo coming up from the Diablo with the huge silence follow-up. A lot of damage actually getting chunked out by both Nazebo and Lunara. Earlschlep gets put in a box, but if you're going to put anyone in a box on that team, I think Diablo's the one that would be volunteering in most cases. Maybe Atlas if he went into the bunker, but we don't see that here. Big stun coming out from Melganis. The Flailing Swept going to try and cut him off, but Earlschlep finding himself pretty low. First kill does go onto Stukov. The Light Bomb coming out, not actually hitting anyone, but does cause enough of a disengage that Fish is able to get out of here. Big Eggroll putting some damage into the backline, but is going to have to back away from that Odin, as the one kill so far uncontested going over in favor of Durotan's Couch is probably going to secure them the objective. Atlas and Sulfide trying to chunk out and getting a couple of extra minions here. Wildcard gets brought down very low, is going to get killed by that jet propulsion. A lot of damage coming out onto the Captain Wedge as well. Only 5 more Shrine Monkeys needed, but Division have found themselves in a really strong position. Wedge drops the Entomb, not able to find anyone of importance. Barely able to walk away, but Division is able to get that point on the objective and actually secure it in their favor. Really well done by them, taking the 4v5 fight and just kind of pushing Durotan's Couch away, and there's not a whole lot that Durotan's Couch was able to do about it. Lunara does a lot of damage, but does it slowly. Nazebo, same thing. Mal'Ganis doesn't do a ton of damage, just provides a lot of control. Leo does damage to tanks, but again, kind of slowly. So Durotan's Couch kind of got pushed into, and they just kind of had to cede position, which is how Division was actually able to secure this objective down 1 hero. John Cena jumping over the wall is getting taken down very fast. We do have the 5-person defense coming out here, and we did have Wedge going into the Ominous Wrath to cut that damage. Ooh, actually finding himself in a really bad spot, gets fully combusted upon and is going to go down. We did have Diablo popping the APOC, trying to find some follow-up CC, not finding it, and instead finding themselves getting CC'd upon into death. A huge life bomb hitting out onto 3. We see that damage over time now, getting put down. Sulfide's low, Atlas is low, and Shamhat is low. Shamhat is going to be the one to fall, however. Wildcard trying to follow up out onto Atlas, as Atlas is very low, and Lunara's got that move speed, but isn't likely going to be able to get that kill. Captain Wedge spawning in the back, does get the Entomb out onto Darker Black. Wildcard gets brought down very low, does get saved by Soul, however. Captain Wedge is just barely able to walk out of there. The damage cut, very important in keeping him alive in there. We did have the 13s getting picked up on both sides. Captain Wedge does put himself onto this camp. If Darker Black sniffs this out, that Flame Strike might be enough, just barely not. But he might have to back out from this, as they do have the numbers advantage, but their health bars are pretty darn similar at this point. And they do back off and put some pressure down into the bottom lane. Checking the stacks again, we're up to 100. That's still a little bit not quite as high as I think a fish wants to be at this point in the game, but it's getting pretty close, and if they keep this pace, they might not have it in time for 20, but they'll have it in time for 20 plus the next big team fight, realistically. We do have both teams aware that this bottom camp is being taken, however, with Leo in the top lane and 5 members of Division in the bottom lane, nothing that Durotan's Couch can really do to try and contest that. But splitting Leo off into the top is very important for them at this point in the game. Not only do they have that periodic catapult pressure, but more importantly, they're losing the race to 16, and Double Soak Leo is a very powerful tool to get that XP differential back in their favor. As we do have the 16s coming in now for the left-hand side only. We do have the Pox Puli, so resetting the duration on the healing pathogen. Blaze talents sure are Blaze talents, and someday I might learn what they are, but it'll not be this game. We do have Fury of the Sunwell, so the double Flame Strike value coming out from Kael'thas, really good in these points, and if they can get it onto some follow-up CC, a ton of damage. Titan Grenade giving that percent health damage is very powerful as well, and the Leo value with that double soaking is going to get Durotan's Couch over to level 16 very shortly, as we do have the Camp Invade coming out, as they're not level 16 quite yet, and Division identifying that not everyone is here for Durotan's Couch is just kind of engage and take this camp basically for free. Level 16 is now getting picked up for Durotan's Couch as well. We have the General Lightwell getting picked up from Manduin, the Plague Bats, which I don't think most people were expecting would be a good talent when Mal'Ganis first came out, but surprise, pretty good talent. The Unfair Advantage, with as much crowd control as they have for the side of Durotan's Couch, is a big damage increase for Lunara. And we have the Corpse Spider talent on 16, giving cooldown reduction every time Corpse Spiders deal damage to heroic targets. It means it's going to be able to chunk out a lot more zombie walls and a lot more toads. And they did go for toads of hugeness on 7, so with the increased range, that's actually a lot of potential damage on those toads. As we hide talents, as we have both teams trying to make this engage happen, just very slowly for Durotan's Couch, as we have Mal'Ganis just kind of running in with the light bomb on. He does hit on him to 2. Atlas is pretty in there, but honestly that's where he wants to be in most cases. Captain Wedge doing a lot of damage reduction with the Spooky Walk there. Afish having to walk back, Big Egg Roll engaging once again onto Ursula. Gets brought down very low. Actually, the Nazebo gets engaged in by Sulfide and is going to be the first one to fall. Ursula does get taken out as Big Egg Roll is deep into the enemy team's backline. A lot of damage coming out there from the Lunara, and the Splintered Spear picked up on 7. They do find themselves with a bit of advantage in this team fight, however. They do need to back up, maybe use a little bit of that Light Well. And they need to catch up in the Shrine minions, as they are down at this point by over 10. And Ursula did get taken out, but he's back. Weaker than he once was, but, you know, having an extra body is still an extra body. Big sleep coming out of Sulfide, just barely wakes up in time so he doesn't get hit with that follow-on Chastise. And Durotan's couch realizes that they can't really try to make a defense down one hero, even if it is as weak a hero as a soulless Diablo. 7 talent is weird from Blaze. Blaze went into the Incinerator Gauntlets. That's true. I don't see this talent taken very often, but I could see how it gets a lot of value on the Shrine phase because you have that bigger AoE damage, but again, I don't know Blaze talents. We do have the Protector coming in through the top lane. It's a relatively healthy keep, but there is no wall. Ursula's actually taking quite a bit of damage. Nazebo gets jumped on, is going to get followed up by Diablo and Blaze both. Does pop the Ice Block and isn't going to take any of that damage from the combustion. Big Egg Roll is deep into the back line. We do have Wedge showing up into the fight now. He was in the bottom lane earlier, using that Ominous Wrath to cut down a lot of damage and hits about 3 people for the most part with that ult. Heals himself quite heavily. We do have Anduin is in a pretty rough spot. Does get out with a little bit of Chastise. Tries to save himself with the Light Bomb. Is going to go down. But the members of Durotan's couch are a lot healthier on average than their opponents. Looking to maybe try and re-engage. Captain Wedge putting himself into a really rough spot with that Spooky Walk. Big Egg Roll in deep as well. Is going to get a lot of damage chunked out on him. He's going to go down as well. 3 uncontested kills, and that might be enough for Durotan's couch, or rather, Dive Vision to actually try and end here. A lot of damage coming out onto Dark or Black. But Diablo engaging with Afish using the resets to chunk out a lot of damage. Wildcard is going to have to Hearth to just get himself safely onto the other side of this team fight, but this might be game number 1 going in favor of Dive Vision. Only Wildcard here to try and make this defense. His core is falling fast, and with no members up for Dive Vision, or for Durotan's couch, it looks like that's going to be game number 1 going for Dive Vision. Captain Wedge does come up, but I don't think his damage cut is going to be enough as they are just right-clicking out onto the core, and that is going to be the GG's coming out as game number 1 goes in favor of Dive Vision. Really well played, and that'll be the first game that they win against Durotan's couch all season. Really well played by both teams, but, I mean, I gotta say, better played in game number 1 coming out from Dive Vision. Checking out the summary, honestly, it felt like more than 11 kills for the side of Dive Vision. It felt like more than that, but I think that was just because Wedge, it felt like he put himself into precarious positions quite a few times that game with the Spooky Walk. The damage cut is great, but if you end the Spooky Walk in the enemy team's backline, you no longer have an escape, and that's where he found himself quite a few times that game. A lot of healing actually coming out from Stukov, more than double what Anduin was putting out, so really well done for Shamhad that game. Just finding out now from Captain Wedge and the rest of the couch what they want for game number 2, whether they want hero pick or map pick, as we get our overlays nice and updated, as we had map number 1 won by the left-hand side. Score currently 1-0. Ooh, we've got Asen. Asen Heroes of the Storm. Maybe he's going to be joining us for game number 2, getting a little bit of co-casting action, hopefully. Fingers crossed. Let's see. Let's see if he accepts the party invite. He did accept the party invite. We've got ourselves a co-caster, boys. Big excitement. You have another voice to listen to besides just mine.
That's fantastic.
Welcome, Ace. What was dinner tonight?
Noodles. We had noodles today.
What kind of noodles? Because that's a super broad category.
The curly spiral pasta.
Mmm. With a cheese sauce or like a meat sauce. I haven't had dinner yet, so
butter.
These are important.
Butter.
Butter is good. I'd probably do maybe butter with a little bit of garlic salt, but I love garlic.
That is your choice.
It sure is. That's very true, Kime. Difer Vision pretty much ahead the whole time. They took really smart fights, backing out when they were low, engaging when their opponents were low, and just they didn't make a whole lot of bad decisions in game number 1, as we do have Captain Wedge opting for first hero pick. So we need to find out from Difer Vision where we're going to head for game number 2. And I don't remember what the captain of that team is named, so I need to look that up so I know who to send whispers to. Difer Vision Shamhat. Oh, so their healer's the captain. Cool. So Ace, I'm pretty sure you've seen in the overlays by now, but our map bands tonight are Sky Temple, Brax's Holdout, BOE, and Volskaya, and we're getting ourselves invited to a lobby.
Tomb or, not Volskaya, so Towers? Nope, it is Tomb. I want to shout out both of us. Our level 1000 exactly. Well done.
Yep, got the caster co-caster synergy going. Here, let me change that portrait real fast.
Oh, hold on, no, I'm gonna join you. Hold on a minute.
Yeah, because I don't know that I have that portrait. Oh, I do. Look at that. Oh, that's not the same portrait.
Not quite.
Dang
That's the Asmodunk.
You're right.
What's it called? What's yours called?
It is called Cute Lambs-a-Lot.
Cute. I don't even have that. Forge now. Done.
Nailed it. Sulfide, definitely matching with the caster and co-casters, so really well done by them. As we do have full portrait synergy for the side of Durotan's couch. Not quite rainbow portraits synergized, but pretty decent nonetheless.
Yeah, they've swapped in Afish for, I forget who's there, they've had earlier in our, we've cast him like 3 times now, so I forget who's out and who's in. I know Afish is in, but they had the green border to make that perfect rainbow.
Yep, they did have that before. Not now, but you know, we'll take portrait synergy.
Let's see, is Darker Black, if they're in Diamond League, oh, if Darker Black changes to the Diamond portrait, it would be at least an all shade of blue.
That'd be pretty
for Difer Vision.
I don't think they're gonna necessarily cater to our whims in that regard, but you know,
that's
little unfortunate. I didn't update what map number 2 is, did I? Sure didn't. It is Tomb of the Spider Queen, as chosen by Difer Vision. Which, not terribly surprising. Difer Vision seem to choose hero pick when they have the choice more often than map pick, but Tomb is one of their more often chosen maps. It's Cursed and then Tomb and Towers, so not terribly surprised to see this map coming out.
Seems pretty good. Wave clear heavy map. They seem to do well on Shrines, so I expect them to do similarly well on Tomb of the Spider Queen here. So, yeah, let's get into it.
You say that. However, Durotan's couch actually chooses Tomb more often than any other map when they have map choice. So, Durotan's couch gonna feel right at home in Tomb of the Spider Queen. Maybe not as much as they do on the couch. Co-caster is noticeably louder than me at Ektar.
I'll just talk softer. It's okay.
Go
ahead and adjust that. We do have an interesting volume scenario because we have to balance it both for casting but also for playing.
Alright, let me know how that is. I dropped him to 75% in Discord. I have slight hearing issues, so maybe Ace is just loud to everybody and I'm weird. We do have the Greymane and Sylve bands coming out once again. Not terribly surprising. We're in the playoffs, so it's a lot more about the target bands than it is about the meta bands, for the most part, but, you know.
Yeah.
Ariel is still really good.
Yeah. Yeah, they're still pretty good.
Durotan's Couch have been playing Ariel since the original buff, like before she got really popular after the buff, because it took a little bit.
They're the Ariel hipsters
Yeah.
of C East here.
They were playing Ariel 3 days after the patch in NGS, so they probably had been playing her before, but then she got the res buff and just the new hotness, and I have to imagine that's been going really well for them for the most part.
Yep, it's part of the reason why they're here. Ektar, do we know the seeds? What matchup is this?
I think it is 2 versus 7. It might be 3 versus 6, but I think it's 2 for 7. Almost certain.
Yes.
Big Egg Roll is playing the Johanna. Not a terrible surprise. Very, very popular hero. And Leo Kel'Thas, I think, is maybe a little bit interesting because Durotan's Couch plays a lot of both those heroes. To be fair, Dive also plays a lot of Leo. They don't play as much Kel'Thas by comparison, but he's really good in this map. And I mean, when you can pick a pair of heroes that not only are you comfortable on, but your opponents would be comfortable on, that's a good feeling.
They're good for this map too. Leo and Kel'Thas both bring a lot of wave clear, which again, it's Tomb. You need the wave clear more than almost any other map.
It really is wave clear the map.
That's fantastic, because that means you don't have to fight the very scary enemies on the other side.
Yeah, exactly.
Just fight the little minions.
You don't fight the enemy team. You just poke at them anytime they try to turn in. But otherwise, it really is just who clears waves better and faster and can take an advantage from that.
Yep. And as a response, Wildcard picks up the Gul'dan as one of, I think, the best overall wave clear mage. Just because his damage is so consistent and just wipes out waves in like 4 seconds flat, and then can rotate, so that's pretty good.
If you pick up Hunger for Power on 7, pretty sure he 2-shots backline minions for the entire rest of the game.
Does that apply to Tomb, though? Because the spiders are more bulky than the archer minions.
Really?
They are.
I don't want to say I don't believe you, because that's not entirely true. But if that's the case, I did not know that, and now I need to look that up.
I believe... Ugh, my goodness, I have not warmed up talking today. I believe from the old Asmodan games where I used to play, I didn't like Tomb as much because it was harder to start stacking that old Taste for Blood. There's a draft occurring. That's apparently a very hot pickup here, and I saw in chat earlier. But it would be harder to kill the backline minions early, so I think they're bulkier.
There's a Tracer on the enemy team.
That's... I saw somebody was talking about it in chat.
That's a wild pick for this, not only this map, but the rest of the comp that they have. They don't have a second support or any real support for Tracer. I don't think Rhaegar is an especially good healer for Tracer. And Jimmy seems really good against Tracer. I think that's a bit of a wild pick, and I don't understand it personally.
Well, the only Black Cat, as the third message of this entire stream, said, give a fish Tracer. So, I have a feeling it's just a thing. Tracer left up. So, you know, dazzle us. Show us the Tracer and make us a believer. They've got the wave clear in Gul'dan, so they can afford to take hits in the other department. And Johanna, hello, Johanna Gul'dan.
They've also got the solo lane cow.
They do have the solo lane cow. I just now realized this. What is going on?
Yeah, it's a lot of potential crowd control, especially after 10, where you've got, you know, Bless Shield into Power Slide into Knockback, so they have a lot of ability to lock down a single hero or a small group of heroes, but Die for Vision has, like, the standard kind of Tomb comp. Mal'Ganis is maybe a bit of a surprise, but not too much. But we have spawning down in the right-hand side in the red trunks, down currently 0-1 in the series, Durotan's Couch with Captain Wedge playing the Elite Tauren Chieftain, Wildcard playing Gul'dan, Big Egg Roll on the Johanna, Sultan playing the Rhaegar, and Afish is on the crowd-requested Tracer.
And in the blue trunks, on the left side of the map, up 1-0, looking to try and punch their ticket into the next round. We do have Die for Vision. Got Sham Hat on Stukov, Darker Black on Kael'thas, Earl Schlepp on Mal'Ganis, Sulfide on Raynor, and Atlas holding up the Earth on Leoric.
All right. Okay, holding up the Earth, Atlas. Picking up what you're putting down. Checking the level ones once again. We have Failed unto Death this time. Not a surprise on this map, just because there's so much minion killing. And Spine Launcher once again from Shamhat. I didn't particularly notice that talent, but it's not one that you do tend to notice. It's not flashy. Sulfide getting put into a bit of a rough spot is just going to pop that E and walk away, however. And Captain Wedge goes in pretty deep, gets stunned by Earlschlepp, and is going to be the first kill to fall. However, Sulfide is the second, so 1 for 1 from both sides. Probably doesn't favor either team too much. I take it back. With as much wave clear as Wildcard has gotten, getting up into the top lane faster, that's maybe a minion or two that was not picked up for Die for Vision, so very slight advantage for Durotan's Couch at the 1 minute mark.
Well, but the offlaner died for Durotan's Couch, and they missed 2 minions down and bottom. Oh, man. So it's all is fair. All is fair. But yeah, we saw Afish already pick up a kill on the Tracer, was able to dive in, managed the cooldowns well, and was able to recall out, no problemo. So nice job there. Gonna go in on Darker Black, and with that Pulse Bomb already up, launches it on and gets a quick second kill, and that's boding well here for Durotan's Couch.
Yeah, I think Afish has maybe played this hero before.
You would think that's a pretty bold strategy to play heroes you've played before, though. I'm not really sure.
So what do you think of the decision to abandon the bottom lane and go for the Bruiser Camp instead? As that's what we see Die for Vision deciding to do at this point.
Have they dropped too many minions, though? They've lost the front line of one of the waves.
Yeah, so about 3 minions down.
But that's at the trade-off of being able to pick up mid. So a little bit of XP lost for the trade-off of picking up an earlier Bruiser. It's a decision. I'm not going to argue one way or the other.
Yeah, both have their merits, and they're going to get a little bit of damage into this front wall. A little bit of bomb spread coming out of the wild card. A lot of bit of damage coming out of the wild card, actually. Does manage to avoid that flame strike. They're not going to lose the front wall, necessarily, but they're going to start taking some damage, as wild card does have to back here.
Yeah, this is actually working really well for Die for Vision. Because they forced Gul'dan out, all of the wave clear basically had to go and Hearth back. Big egg rolls in the bottom, and so yeah, Die for Vision just took 3 people and pushed in and basically did what the first Web Weaver was going to do. So really nice job.
A lot of damage actually coming out into Atlas in the bottom lane, as he was actually taking quite a bit of damage from just the Siege Camp. Captain Wedge deftly avoiding that Gravity Lapse and follow-on Flame Strike. So they did have just a little bit more camp pressure being taken from the side of Durotan's Couch, and actually dropping quite a bit of gems is going to be Mal'Ganis in the top lane, as that top rotation is going to take him out. There's just asymmetrical advantages coming out on both sides of the map, and for both teams.
Yeah, usually this map you see kind of teams just rotating mostly together with high wave clear, and they can't really gain any advantages, but these kind of wave clear changes where people can step up and not is really making this early game a lot more interesting than most tombs.
Yeah, Wildcard a bit caught out in front. Is going to be taking some actually pretty chunky damage from Jimmy there, and Kael'thas as well. Is likely going to want to go back and tap on the well. Big Egg Roll as well, going to want to do something very similar. We do have enough Web Weavers for the side of Durotan's Couch. A lot of them, I believe, are in Johanna and Tracer. So, actually Johanna got theirs in, so mostly on Wedge and Tracer.
Yep,
not gonna
they will need everybody. Yeah, right now they need everybody except Gul'dan, who has a singular gem, so relatively unimportant. But yeah, because Mal'Ganis dropped 17 gems in the top lane upon death and no one's able to recover those, there's a significant duration of time where Durotan's Couch has this turn-in available and can do crushing for it. Sulfide takes a whole lot of corruption.
Yeah, we do have Captain Wedge going into the solo lane ETC build, if you want to call it that, picking up the Echo Petals. You have that more consistent wave clear and without burning quite as many resources. But still, mostly just kind of getting pushed away by Atlas with the Spooky Hand providing a ton of value. Big Egg Roll does get the interrupt onto Ursula, but not onto Sulfide, so both teams having turned available. A lot of CC coming out onto Darker Black, and this is exactly what we were talking before, of having that double true tank frontline and a massive amount of CC train. That does give the opportunity for Captain Wedge to probably get a turn in here, and that doesn't finish the turn in, but it gets him real heckin' close.
Yep, and Afish is looking to make the turn and happen in the top lane. The call-out's been had, and it's just a matter of how many times can Big Egg Roll zone him out. Sulfide tries to get the interrupt, but is going to get to taste of Pulse Bomb, and it's going to take a, I believe that was a bio kill switch and a armor to get Jimmy back, but he did survive, and his team got the turn in the bottom lane, so, you know, well done.
That was an interesting interaction. Ursula hit Johanna with the Night Rush as their D-Shield was on. I would have expected that when D-Shield fell, they'd be put to sleep, but that was actually not the case.
Yeah, it only attempts to make the sleep check once when it first happens. That's how it doesn't double sleep people. So, Afish actually takes a lot of damage from Bomb Spread, and it is a 5-man push here for Die for Vision in the mid lane. 10's, like, it's 1 minute before dawn, and the sun's coming up on their level 10 Talons. You do have Shield, Stage Dive, so no follow-up Moshes, Ancestral, and the expected Horrify. Let's see if they can, Durotan's Couch can turn that into a momentary advantage here. As Wedge dives in the top lane, is low on mana, unfortunately, and could not complete the combo. Shamhat picking up the level 10 is going to allow them to disengage with that flailing swipe. So, nice job there by Die for Vision.
Yep, and there's no threat at all of second turn-in. Durotan's Couch is actually pretty close to getting enough gems for second turn-in. They would need math number more, and I'm
13.
not going to do that. But it's very likely they pick up enough during their actual turn-in phase that they could go for that. And actually opting to go for this Bruiser Camp, I kind of like that because they didn't have a lot that they could do for actually picking up waves at that moment. And it gives them a nice little anchor point to actually try and secure the turn-in.
Yeah, if they look to turn in bottom, Die for Vision is either going to have to contest them, as Atlas is having to do, or they're going to have to deal with the Bruiser Camp, and it's more difficult, not impossible, but more difficult to deal with both.
I think actually getting brought down pretty low. Is going to have to tap, but should be able to go and re-engage at that point. Really good goaltending coming out from the side of Die for Vision, but looks like they're just maybe going to miss. I didn't see who got the turn in there. It didn't look like Wedge. Was Egg Roll in the bottom? Okay, I was looking at Wedge at the time. You know, Atlas in a bit of a rough spot is able to pop the E and get on out of there. Just a little bit of a lapse in the CC train coming out from Durotan's Couch, but looks like they're choosing to push through into the bottom lane, and this is pretty good because it's far away. It's not the optimal lane, but it's probably the second best lane to push. Although we do still have 4 people in the mid lane, so maybe they're just trying to get the off-soak in the bottom lane.
Webweaver now lands in the middle lane. Phoenix and Stage Dive use Slap. Flailing Swipe comes out to disengage it, but Ursula's in a really bad spot. Nice Carrion Storm actually makes him invulnerable during the Pulse Bomb. That would have certainly secured the kill, so really good timing there, something Dark Conversion would not have done. And yeah, no deaths, but it will allow Durotan's Couch to kind of take the first position up here against the top 4.
Yeah, the Webweaver does fall, and I don't think they'll actually be able to secure that fort. Afish delivering a bit of a bomb explosion not on a wild card, but completely necessary to keep themselves alive. They did have Atlas in the bottom lane basically that entire time, so a lot of damage was able to come out for the side of Durotan's Couch, but neither team able to secure a fort. Both teams having enough now for that double turn-in, and whoever gets this next turn-in I think is going to be really important for the game going forward, because that second turn-in is almost guaranteed going to get at least one fort, and there will probably be a pretty decent-sized team fight that happens beforehand.
Yeah, and I think the most important part of it is it's going to determine who wins the race to level 16. And that's pretty much and up to that point, one of the most important talent tiers, so that's really nice. And Atlas is just going to get the turn in right there in the bottom lane. Durotan's Couch just kind of let him do it, too. There wasn't a whole lot to it, so... Yeah, that's Blue Web Weavers coming in, and that mid fort doesn't look too healthy.
No, mid fort certainly falls, and it looks like they're not even trying to make a defense in that lane as they are rotating up towards the top lane to try and mount the defense there instead. Also totally abandoning the bottom lane, which will lose its fort if no one rotates down there eventually.
Yeah, this could be a dangerous kind of 3-fort loss scenario for Durotan's Couch, so they need to really prioritize well. ETC's down in the bottom lane, does have that dive available so they can make a quick defense or a quick team fight happen. But Dive Vision seems to be content pushing the mid wave. Durotan's Couch cleans up the entire top, and now they're going to come in from behind and possibly get a little bit of a flank as Dive Vision's under heat here.
Huge stage dive coming out from Captain Wedge is going to hit out onto 3. No flailing swipe coming out in time to save anybody this time. A-Fish gets brought down very low, but does get saved by the Ancestral. Second kill coming out onto Stukov, and it looks like they were considering chasing down additional kills, but they didn't have really any significant follow-on CC at that point, as Blessed Shield was down, and probably so was Power Slide, but this does give them opportunity to take position onto boss, and there's really not a whole lot that Dive Vision can actually do about it. We've got the Game 3 chance coming out in the chat, and you know we agree with that sentiment.
As casters, we're contractually obliged to root for Game 3. It's actually in the caster bylaws. Very important.
Yep.
Yeah, boss is taken, and double Web Weavers available for Durotan's Couch, so they can take this boss, turn in. Maybe it doesn't get a whole lot, maybe it gets plenty. Doesn't matter, really. They'll have enough to turn in again as soon as these Web Weavers get cleaned up. So this has a real big opportunity for Durotan's Couch to take top keep, push for game with level 16. Really, it's up to them, and if they play it well, they can take us to a Game 3 here in the next 2-3 minutes.
I like the play that came out from Dive Vision. They're putting pressure out into that bottom lane. They may have tried to force somebody back, but it's also going to force that Web Weaver to just be super deep into the bottom lane. The Web Weaver does now spawn in the top lane just about as the boss is going to start going down. We do have the big engage attempt coming up from Captain Wedge. The counter engage in Tomb actually getting pushed through the wall because of the flailing slide. Huge Horrify is going to put Atlas into a pretty rough spot. However, A-Fish is pretty low as well, is just barely able to blink on out of there. A lot of damage coming out onto Durotan's Couch. Top keep is not falling, and it looks like Boss and Web Weaver both are going to get taken out. However, there's pressure in the mid lane, pressure in the bottom lane, and there's a big rotation, especially going into the mid lane. A-Fish heading on into the bottom lane to make sure that they can try and get those 2 forts since they weren't able to get a keep. Looks like mid seems like it's unlikely to go down. They are rotating Leo into the bot lane, so maybe not even losing any additional forts.
Wow. That's pretty wild. I kind of want Durotan's Couch to go top. They didn't. Instead, they are going to get a hit on the Earlschlepp. Carrion Swarm not available, used well earlier in the fight, though. And that lets the Pulse Bomb confirm the kill, and now Durotan's Couch has that scenario. Just 2 gems off of their second turn-in. With the lanes being a bit pushed out, will make it hard, but soon they will have enough for that back-to-back turn-in, which will confirm top keep and will pressure the other 2.
Yeah, really well done by them. They are, for the first time in this game, going to have a building advantage. Able to take all three forts during that turn-in, and having that turn-in available is going to be really huge for them. The definitely the most telling stat in this game is the kill disparity. 1 kill for Dive Vision and 7 kills for Durotan's Couch, and they've been doing a much better job of maintaining their gems. So that's what's really pushing them ahead. If they didn't have a turn-in here, like Dive Vision don't, this would be a pretty even game. With this additional turn-in, it's definitely likely to go in favor of Durotan's Couch. So we do have the big engage coming out from Captain Wedge again. Does get the immediate blowout onto Stukov. Captain Wedge actually going to fall. Nice counter kill coming out from Dive Vision, but that's still another Web Weaver barreling into their top keep and also pushing down the other 2 lanes.
Yeah, and with what is this? with it being a 1-for-1, I was gonna say it makes the web weavers. I mean, there's less to defend it, but they just abandon the web weavers in the top. They're gonna push through mid and top keep, despite everything I was kind of expecting. Does not die. That actually just blows me away. Kael'thas with Fury the Sunwell is obliterating these web weavers, and guy, they gotta rotate up now, but that seems like they're in a bad position to do so.
I think this is a case where they were being overly safe. They decided they didn't want to deal with the enemy team was. Horrify comes out, mostly whipping, gets some damage out on the Sham Hat, but ooh, Wildcard gets blown up immediately. The Ancestral not coming out in time to save him there. Yeah, it was the safer play to go into the mid lane and put pressure and not engage with the enemies, but they had enough of an advantage that they didn't need to play that safe. All I think they really needed to do was at least position aggressively into the top lane, threaten the keep, because that allows the web weavers in the other lanes to get more value as well. Even if they're not able to get that top keep off of the pressure, they would get more in the other lanes for having position.
Yep, strong agree. I think that's a missed opportunity for Durotan's Couch, and it would be a shame if it came to punish them severely, at least in this series, but we'll have to see. Double turn-in is basically available for Die for Vision, as they're mounting 109 of the 125 gems needed for the double. So, yep, nice Bush Party on the Dark Black, pops the mana barrier, and is going to survive mainly due to that, so nice job there. Sulfide gonna go ahead, turn in all but one of the gems needed, and that's the turn-in for Die for Vision, as level 20s are pretty soon.
Yeah. I like this rotation clearing out the top lane. Top lane is where they have the most advantage. It's also just objectively the most important lane in most scenarios, so weakening the pressure out here is really smart, and Captain Wedge does have that global. Does need to make sure he doesn't die.
Oh no.
Oh, you don't hearth there.
Dead.
There you go.
There you
go. Diving out, using the fact that that's a global escape as well as a global engage. Clearing up mid, really well done by them. Probably should just abandon bottom. There's no way they actually save that. There's no real way to actually save top fort, but they do want to defend the top keep.
Yeah, they've got to make a good defense here. Gul'dan can defend fairly well. As level 20s are picked up, we'll try and go over those as we can, but nonetheless, this is a bit of a tense push. The good news for Durotan's Couch is that the Web Weaver is pretty much cleaned up as the gate goes down. So it would be a little bit riskier for Die for Vision to engage, but it is 5v4 for Die for Vision. Tracer takes a Flame Strike and a little bit of damage. Entomb actually whiffs, and that is the Buried Alive, so it would have been almost a certain death sentence to whoever's inside. But the retreat is successful. No kills were had, Web Weavers are clean, and no keeps are down yet. And we have the turn-in available for D4V again.
And a Bush Party.
Oh, and Durotan's Couch's invited wild card is going to need an Ancestral to save there, and Durotan's Couch is in complete disarray in this fight. Afish is taken out on Tracer first, and this will certainly give Die for Vision their next turn-in.
I don't know how much it's played out in most of these team fights, but Gul'dan actually went Rampant Hellfire in 16 instead of getting the Ruinous Affliction, which there have been a couple times where I've seen 3 hit and thought, why did that not do more damage? And now I know the answer.
Hard agree.
Especially on clearing out things like these Web Weavers and a potential boss.
Or siege damage on a keep.
Yeah.
And that's a big difference right now. And with the Web Weavers and a single man advantage, Die for Vision is going to try and make a core push here. Slap actually misses and allows ETC to slide into the backline. Gul'dan 1v1ing Kael'thas on the top actually does win, as the 3v4 is somehow working well for Durotan's Couch in the mid. And I think they've made the defense. Big Eggroll's going to push up a pretty far, but has that D-shield to escape. And now the Web Weaver in the middle is in a very defensive position for Durotan's Couch, and they're going to be able to clean it up pretty easily.
I don't like that series of Qs coming off from Ursula, putting himself into a really deep position. Thankfully for him, not a lot of counter-engaged CC coming out for Die for Vision, but that was a really precarious spot that he decided to put himself into just there. As you do have the members of Die for Vision going out into the bottom lane, putting damage into the keep, and very likely going to get it because Durotan's Couch a little bit slow to respond. Maybe not actually getting that keep. Urslap is pretty low, and they find the first kill out on the Stukov. We do have the Carrion Swarm coming out, is able to save. Wildcard does receive that big burst of healing. Afish able to get on out of there with the recall, finding a second kill in the whole team fight. Kael'thas about to come back up now, but Afish still pretty low, probably going to want to tap. Neither team with actual turn in yet. Captain Wedge picking up the final gems that they'll need just now. And this is potential for... Oh god, what is this, a fifth turn in? Ooh, boss is...
Fourth. But yeah,
boss turn would be an incredible play for Durotan's Couch, and Die for Vision agrees, and they're coming in to make this defense because they feel like they have to, even down their healer.
Yeah, you've got to be careful not to get lured into an early fight without a healer. Blessed Shield goes out along with the crowd control on to the main, the front line of Die for Vision, and Mal'Ganis and Gul'dan trade out. Afish actually very low. They keep attacking the boss, and it's costing Durotan's Couch a lot. Deathmosh is preventing Leoric from doing anything. Solm now having to occupy the boss point, and this is actually looking really bad for Durotan's Couch. Entomb comes out, silencing out Johanna. Rhaegar is down. Tracer is down. Johanna going to be dead in 3, 2, 1. There she goes. Gems on the floor. Boss taken by Die for Vision. And with that, I think the entire series.
Yeah. Can't help but agree. There's already catapults. There was a Bruiser Camp pushing through the mid lane. Don't even need to get the actual boss. I don't even know if it'll get to the core before it falls, but that is going to be the 2-0 victory and the series going over in favor of Die for Vision. Well played by them.
GG's coming out from both sides. Nice job.
Oh yeah, Div C is like some of the most cordial and wholesome teams in the entirety of the league.
Alrighty. Well, congratulations to Die for Vision. They'll be moving on, and they even got revenge for their 2-0 defeat against Durotan's Couch from earlier in the season. So nice growth and storyline that we can tell here.
Absolutely. You always love to see the team that lost come back later in the season and get that revenge kill.
Yep. Even though we are still bigger fans of Game 3 than the storyline.
That big fact.
Big fact.
Everybody likes a game number 3. It's the most exciting game.
Except one of the teams playing.
You're right. Probably the team that won game number 1 doesn't like game number 3.
Oh, wonder why that is.
I haven't taken linear algebra or differential equations yet, so I'm not exactly sure how the math works out there, but I'm pretty sure you have, and I bet you could explain it to me off stream sometime.
No, I don't think I can. I think we need even higher levels of math for that.
I don't actually know the names of higher level math than that.
Partial differential equations. Past that, it's like you can get into like wacky real life problems and stuff like that. But I'm trying to think of like day 9 stuff from there.
All right, well, we do have Shamhat over in Coin Toss Map Pick Lobby number 5, so we're going to hop in there for a little post-game interview.
Let's do it.
Congratulations, Shamhat, and the rest of Die for Vision.
Thank you.
How's everybody feeling right now?
Pretty good. Definitely pretty good. Feels good to beat them. They beat us in the regular seasons. We had extra reason to play tonight.
So how does a team go about preparing, for a match like this where you were dominated in the first series that you played? Statistically, you've played better over the course of the season, but they clearly had your number earlier. And yeah, so how do you prepare for a match where you've already lost against this team?
Well, we banned Ari this time, and that was important. They played a really good Ariel, so I guess really we did our scouting and kind of better prepared to ban against them so that we could play better against them this time around.
It's true. I was looking it up earlier. Your match versus them was 3 days after the Ariel res buff, which she got super strong, but I think it took her maybe a week or so before she actually got popular from it. So, kind of using the inside strats before anyone else figured out what was up. The Ariel ban's working out very well for you, and yeah, going into game number 1. From the chat, it felt like you were pretty much ahead the whole time. Is that how it felt to you all?
I would say it didn't so much feel like we were ahead as much as it just felt like we were kind of in control. We were rotating well. We were following our calls well. And I guess, that does put us ahead in the long run. But honestly, we definitely played that first game just kind of in the moment, taking it piece by piece to make sure that we could end up pushing core to win.
Yeah, I think you did a really good job of taking fights that you can win, which sounds like it should be an obvious thing that everyone wants to do, but you backed out when you lost heroes. But there were a couple of times even where you fought 4v5 on the objective, but their health bars were super low, or they had someone in the lane or instead of in the objective, and were just able to take really smart team fights during that whole game, and it worked out really well for you.
Yeah, for sure. I would agree. I feel like we took almost every fight on our turn, and even some of the fights that didn't necessarily start in our favor, I think we did a good job of regaining control. So I'm proud of my team for that.
Ace, I know you're watching game 1 in chat. Do you have anything else for that game?
No, because I was actually getting food the entire time, and I'm really trying to make sure our match later is good to go, so...
Alrighty.
I've got nothing further.
Important roles of the assistant captain, making sure matches actually happen when they're supposed to.
Wink.
So going into game number 2, your team had map pick. You had first pick in game number 1. Why Tomb of the Spider Queen?
We enjoy that. Honestly, that's it. We like to play. I don't give away too much,
That's
because of
fair.
Playoffs, but
I asked because I noticed during my preps for this match that Durotan's Couch have actually picked Tomb of the Spider Queen more than they have picked any of the other maps when they had map pick. So it seems like a very comfortable map for them as well. I was wondering if that had was something that you had noticed and were just okay with, or what?
Yeah, we talked about it beforehand, and honestly, we were like, we feel comfortable enough that we're just gonna kind of roll, see how it goes. We know how they play, and it worked out. It was definitely scary though. I was very stressed for like the entire game.
Yeah, game number 2 was definitely a lot closer. In fact, I think for the most part, after about level 10, they had a slight advantage at most points, right up until they didn't over that boss play.
Yeah, it definitely, it didn't feel like we were taking as much on our terms, especially when they came in with the double turn and back to back. That was really rough, and we kind of saw it coming and couldn't really do anything to stop it, and so it felt like a lot of that where we were just like, they're about to do this, and it was a lot of reaction on our part, but I think we held it long enough to, I guess, win, so it worked out.
Yeah, and congratulations on your win. Checking the tournament bracket, you will be playing against the winners of Regen Anomaly and Wood League. Did that already play? Is that just not reported?
No, they're not. They want to keep us in suspense. I think they're playing on Sunday.
Oh, okay.
So we have to wait with bated breath.
So, given the choice, obviously you don't really have it, but which of those two teams would you rather play against in the next round?
Oh man, is this me personally, or what I think my team would want?
You know, I'll take either.
I'm gonna say I'm gonna say Region Anomaly. We have so much fun playing against them. And we just played against them. I don't know. I'm just feeling really spicy for that matchup. So if it happens, I'll be excited. If it doesn't, I'll be excited. Either way, I'll be excited.
Yeah, I tend to agree. Both of those teams have been around for quite a while at this point.
Yeah, we play all the OG teams right now. It's really nice. Feels like we're playing with celebrities.
Durotan's Couch, one of the only teams remaining from Chair League Season 1, if I'm not mistaken. One of only 2 teams.
NGS Season 1.
NGS Season 1, my bad.
Come on, Ektar.
Hey, I wasn't a part of the team when the team was part of NGS Season 1, okay? I'm just quoting your stats now, and badly at that.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, Lurk Patrol is the other team remaining from NGS Season 1.
We'll say this every time we cast Durotan's Couch, apparently.
Yep. Ace, any other thoughts, questions, anything about the series?
No, not particularly. Not particularly.
All
Congratulations,
right.
And good luck going forward.
We do have one question from the chat, specifically from Velcomer. Is there a moment that you would describe as the Die for Vision Valley Forge of Season 8?
That's such an incredible way of putting that.
Very specific question. I'm sure there is. I am so bad at on-the-spot questions. What happens is I'm gonna have to go DM him in like 20 minutes when I've thought, and then I have like specific clips to reference. I can't answer that. I'm also like really tired, so I'm sorry, Val.
No, that's fine. You hear that, Velcomer? Answer pending with clips. All right, I think that's all we have. So, I'm gonna throw it over to you. Do you have any shout-outs, people you wanna to say stuff to? All of the 2 viewers that are still remaining in Twitch chat, as the other 18. I guess they prefer gameplay over my face.
No, they migrated.
Oh, that's reasonable.
C, the other matches occurring in C.
Very reasonable then.
Yeah, for sure. I'm excited to start watching them too. And, you know, I gotta give Valk's mom a shout. And Val, I guess since he's one of the 2 viewers still, the other one's probably me in my browser.
Well, I appreciate it.
Shout out my team. We played really well. I'm excited for the next couple of games that we'll get to play in the playoffs. And shout out to Durotan's Couch. It's always so fun to play you all. We always have a great time. So, yeah, thanks for the opportunity.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
Thanks for the cast.
Yeah, thank you for waiting the 5 minutes, because I literally got home 5 minutes before the game was going to start, and needed to just take care of a couple things.
We really appreciate it.
All right, well, thank you for coming in for the interview.
Yeah, no problem.
We're just going to hop over and finish out closing out this cast and actually raid somebody, because I'm not the world's worst caster. Woo! All right, that's going to do it for us tonight. Thank you, everybody, for being here. I see most people have already gone over to some other stream, and that's totally valid. And we're going to look for somebody to raid.
I think we should raid Slexia. A, because she's live, and B, she's casting us later.
I saw that. That is a good idea. I just need to identify...
Wait the requisite 60 seconds.
Yeah, when 60 seconds from now is going to happen, so that this raid doesn't happen early.
Yeah, no problem. So, yeah, thanks for watching, everybody who's already gone. Go watch some good gameplay, and join us later for our playoff match, and if not, see you around for probably more playoff casting action.
Yeah, and actually, Velcomer, I didn't read that question. That was just like standard playoff questioning.
Oh, so good.
All right, we're going to start the Slexia raid, and if we cut off the conversation, that's fine. Gameplay is more important.
2 raiders, Pog.
Yeah, gotta get those extra 250 channel points. That's 8 literally nothings.
8.3 repeating. Oh, I can't believe it.
All right, and we're rating.
And now I have Slexia open in 2 tabs.
Stop streaming.